Hello, I'm Ellen Horan, President and CEO of the Greater Reading Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and we're here for this week's Chamber Member Spotlight, and I have with me Barry Schlouch. Barry is President of Schlouch Incorporated. So Barry, I understand that Schlouch is a site preparation specialist. What does that mean?
Correct. We are a heavy civil site preparation contractor. We build roads and infrastructure for all types of commercial, residential, multifamily, industrial projects throughout pretty much the state of PA and surrounding states.
Great. Now, I also know from hearing you tell your story before that you started this business out of your basement. I love the stories where people say, I started it in my garage, started it in my basement, and you and your wife did just that. Why don't you tell me about what got you to that point that you decided to start a business?
Well, I grew up on a farm as a teenager, got married at 19 and 17. We had a little boy at the time. I was earning $2 an hour, and my wife inspired me to a greater potential. So I'd become a general laborer in construction. Went to school at night for surveying and civil engineering, and I actually worked in town for Ludgate and Associates for a year when I was 21 years old, and ended up starting our own construction company when I was 25.
Okay. Straight
out of the basement. We capitalized it with $2,000, and Deb and I had a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old at the time.
Oh, wow. And that job was the Wendy's in West Reading?
Wendy's in West Reading on Penn Avenue.
And you still spent a lot of time on Penn Avenue, I can tell from your Facebook page.
We do.
So it's special to you.
It is.
Good. And actually now you're much larger than that. Why don't you tell us what your company has grown to?
Well, from the initial $2,000 investment, we're 31 years in business. We employ 230 employees. And collectively, over the 31 years, we've done about $1 billion in business.
Wow. Where is most of your work done?
The greater amount of our work is in the Allentown region, what I call the Greater Philadelphia region. We work in Berks as well. However, there's some growth pockets outside of Berks that we're very busy.
Yeah, that's great. One of the things I've always appreciated from knowing your business back when you were members of the Manufacturers Association and now through the Chamber is you really spend a heck of a lot of time with an employee focus and developing a culture for your employees. Why don't you tell the rest of the membership about that?
Well, I believe more in followership. I really study followership more so than, of course, I study leadership as well, but what does it take to get a person to follow you for the rest of your life? What does it take for an employee for life? What does it take for a customer for life? What does it take for a relationship, a wife, a family for life? And I've found pretty much 3 things that I've learned over my life, 57 years. One is about caring. The first thing when I meet people is the first question they want to know is, does Barry care? And it's kind of a care test. Either you do or you don't. And it's every day, every moment, every time you meet somebody, you either care or you don't. And they sense that. So if you pass the care test, second is, can I trust him? So when you think about life, people make mistakes. Does Barry have my back or will he take me down? So if we get through the care and we get through the trust, the last thing that I look for in relationships with people is, can I help them? And if you take like an employee, either their life gets better or worse as a result of being with you. And I really look at those 3 things. So if they know I care, if they know they can trust me, and if they know that their life will get better, that's how I've been able to create our first employee is still with us from 31 years ago.
Oh, that's great. And you also have 2 other employees that happen to have the same last name.
Yeah, both our children work at the company.
Yeah, neat.
Which is quite an interesting journey. A lot of my peers tell me sometimes of how there's not opportunity here in Berks County, that their children are going out of town. And I say we've got to create opportunity for our family and for our children. So my children have been all over the world, daughter went to college in Florida, spent a year in Australia, opening up a division for another heavy highway company. And she's back in Berks County working with me and with our family and with our team, and as well as our son.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it says something when your children want to work with you.
It does. And the last thing I want you to comment on with regard to that culture is I know you also put a real heavy emphasis on safety at your company. That's something that I think people take for granted. But particularly with all of the equipment that you work with, I think that's, again, about the caring of your people.
Yes. My belief when it comes to safety, if you don't encourage a safe work environment, train your employees to work safe, and hold them accountable, you simply don't care. And I know there are companies out there that do that, but they fail the care test if their employees are not encouraged and held to safe standards.
Yeah. Well, I know you take a lot of pride in everything that you do, and I understand you wrote a little book. You want to mention what that was about? Oh, yeah. I thought we had it on the shelf, but it's up high. Sorry about that. Well, excellence in construction.
Yeah. I try and do, just as part of giving, to speak at least once a month at a college or a university or a business. And I do that about 12 times a year. I don't do more than that because, I still am running a full-time business and I'm my family as well. But I do give about one talk a month. And especially the colleges and universities, they want to know, like, in an hour, how'd you do it? So I thought if I wrote a short book, it's a 27-page, 2-page chapter. The first chapter is about building you first. The last chapter is about anything possible. It might help them get on the right track because I've been working at this 57 years. It's little steps, one step at a time. So it's not something that just happens. There is no get rich quick.
Right.
There is a get rich slow. But you hear this get rich quick, and in my opinion, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Well, for the last question I'd like to ask you, is there something you can share with other business owners, a resource, something unique to Berks County that helped you to grow your company to the successful company that it is today?
Well, number one is it starts with you. What are you passionate about, and what are you good at? And does that create value? So when I'm passionate about construction because construction does a lot of good. It connects people through roads. It comforts people through homes. It educates people through schools. It brings fresh water to the houses through the pipes. It takes sanitation away from the homes into sewage treatment plants to minimize pollution. So construction is about bringing good to people's lives. So I can get really passionate about that. My question would be, what are they passionate about? Second is get really good at it. I'm working every day. I study construction every day. I'm getting a little better every day. I feel like I'm just getting started. So, stay hungry at what you do and get good at it. And third is just get a little better each and every day. Now, as far as right here, I got to say one of my ways of getting started was a chamber dinner. Way back in 1984 when I joined the chamber, we're a 30-year member. There are some really good people to network with. Mine was Brian Clements. Every time I see Brian, I say thank you. Brian said, hey, kids, stick close to me. I'm going to introduce you to a lot of good people. So I go to the chamber dinner. I stick close to like 2 foot behind him. And Brian knows everybody. And I met everybody at the chamber dinner. And Brian would say, this is Barry Schlouch. He's the best excavator in Berks County. If you have any need, you call him. And I just followed him around, but I had something good to offer. So I would say that the chamber dinner is a great place to meet some talented people.
Great. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. And thanks for sharing your story with the rest of the chamber membership. You're always a positive influence, and I always look forward to chatting with you.
You're welcome.
Good.